Welcome back to Self Revelations. It's your boy B-Dab.
And I'm Juan Moreno.
Wanavelli, how's your week, brother? How you been?
Everything's been going good, man. Just learning some like new different stuff at work though. Like been working with like two mechanic engineers. They've came from Boston, Massachusetts. I forget the brand of the robots, but basically they're like implementing at work to have the robots transfer, like do some of the manual labor work that we would have like associates do, that would kind of remove them from productivity. Like we could utilize them like better in delegating like other like work tasks that robots can't do. Like people don't realize too, like with the robots, they're stupid. Like even computers, they're dumb. Like you have to like program it and tell it what to do. And we are like we're so far away of AI be able to have the consciousness of a human mind. Like we're not even nowhere near. It's like people see Tesla and people see like robots and AI do like a lot of different things that people think like, oh, they're gonna take our jobs. Well, if your job is like labor, like pattern, like recognition, then yeah, it's gonna take your job. But if it has anything to do with you picking, like with the associates that we have, they grab a pallet, they scan it, they observe and see if that's the product, and then drop it to a staging lane, print out the paperwork. You have to also be careful when driving around people. Like a lot of the human mind is being connected while you're doing that job. And with the robots, they only do pattern recognition. So they go from point A to point B to point C. Anything that gets in that point A and point B in the middle will stop it, and then the human has to come and redirect it again. So people are so worried about like the robots taking their job that we're nowhere near that. So we've been like implementing that the last couple months, but now we're going through like the phase one of like me and my supervisor Shirley. We are tasked like the responsibility of the robots to make sure like everything's going good and everything's running smoothly and adjusting when needed. So we're going through that phase at work, and then at the same time, I'm still, trying to learn more about my way of communicating and make sure my point is getting across as logical as possible while removing the emotional part. I mean, regardless, we're humans, so emotions are always going to get in the way sometimes. So I've been trying to learn how to separate that and separate my energy from other people, and not taking their energy and then absorbing it and then responding to them and their energy. I need to make sure I'm intact, being stoic with myself, and not allowing somebody's emotions to get the best of me, and then I respond to them the way they respond, like their energy. So kind of like learning how to manage myself and my energy, and being like, straight up forward and my chest up, head up, and not letting their emotions get to me. So that's kind of what I've been kind of going through this last week.
And for people who don't know who Stoic is, can you give us a quick little definition, and then how important is it to be stoic in a workplace or in, just your everyday life in general when it comes to like not letting other people's energies rub off of yours?
Yeah, so my definition of like stoicism is like more of, being grounded, like understanding who you are, understanding people's emotions, understand how they are, and then having a higher purpose of self. So like knowing yourself. Like, and I kind of hold myself to that. Like, I know myself more than anybody. And I know when, I get out of character, not like I'm putting like character as in front, but like more of like who I want to be and who I am, and letting people's emotions maybe, rub off on me, and not being able to like dictate and be aware of that. So I think people like Aristotle, Marcus Aurelius, even philosophers like Alan Watts, like people that I kind of look at, even I forget how you pronounce his name, but he has the quote of it's not what happens to you, it's how you respond to that matters. Like I think it's Epictetus. I could be saying his name completely wrong. I have a hard time pronouncing that.
Oedipus?
Say it again?
Oedipus?
Something like that.
Okay.
It's close, but like those type of back in the day, like Stoics, like I've been kind of tapping into that. I think this is like on YouTube It's called Daily Stoic. There's this guy, Ryan Holiday, I believe is his name. He wrote some books on it and has like YouTube channels that it's like basically wisdom and like how back in the day how people held themselves to a standard by, you know, like philosophies and stuff like that. So that's what I've been like studying lately. Like this last week for sure is like try to, you know, I think everybody, you need like affirmations. You need something to like keep you grounded or to remind you of like how you might feel emotionally in that moment, or if you're like lost and you're losing track, you need like these certain phrases to bring you back, or like a vision board, or on your phone you have a wallpaper or a quote, or you wake up to an alarm that has these certain like words that kind of set the mood, set the tone. Like it sets the tone how to, like if you wake up all like, you know, lost and confused, like your alarm woke you up and you felt like you were late, so you're like the anxiety like is triggering in the morning. And I think you need like certain phrases and things to bring you back to like, okay, today's gonna be a great day. I thank God I'm alive. I woke up today. Like you need those type of things to like bring you back to be at a ground level.
Yeah, facts. And I usually I had this app. I have this app now, and I know you've seen how I have my phone set up. I have this app now to where it's like it gives me my motivational quote on discipline every single day. So there's like 2 slides, and it's like something that I can always look. Like first thing when I look and open my phone, I don't even have my social media on the screen. I have it like as like you have to actually like search it up, like Instagram and stuff like that. You have to like search it up and go to it. But having that app on there and being able to take in that motivational things in the morning, it's kind of been like the difference. And then like instead of scrolling, going watching podcasts or going on YouTube, and you know, even watching our shit, going back and watching some of the stuff that we've said, or how we've grown in our podcast, you know, it really is the difference in how your morning's gonna go.
Yeah, you know what? You know, damn, it's funny how like we just talk about some things like right now, and then like it's like things just open. Like I was subconsciously, I've been working on within myself of like starting off the day with something to like. I'll watch like a Gary Vee, like, you know, motivational episode, or a keynote of him talking in like public speaking, or The Rock, or like other people that Jay Shetty, or other people that have, or Sadhguru, like people that have like a different philosophy that I align with, like being thankful for the day, and, you know, starting off your morning right, like a daily affirmation in the morning. I've been doing that the last actually few days, last 4 days. And it's been like setting the tone for me in the morning that has me thankful. Like waking up to like an alarm that says, be thankful. You woke up like at 2:30 in the morning. Like the fact that I see that is like, it just sets everything. Like, you know what, instead of me, I think we do a lot of things like repetitive. Like, you know, let's say you're a 9 to 5 person. You wake up at 6 in the morning. You wake up, you know, waking up on the side of the bed, like, fuck, I got to go to work today. I'd rather sleep in. You try to snooze until almost the time where you only have a small window to get to work, and your coffee or your tea or your meal. Like, it's just so repetitive. You do it every day, and you kind of aren't thankful of like the fact that you even woke up, the fact that you get to drink coffee, the fact that you're in your own home, you have your own bed, nice sheets, nice little pillow, like in temperature cooled. Like you take all that shit for granted, like, because you're doing it every day. And I think the way you start off your morning is like you win the day. So if you make your bed in the morning, you kind of win that battle, especially when you didn't want to do it and you don't want to and you do it. That's the first thing you do in the morning. You kind of set the tone, like, I just won the first half, so now you do the rest of the you play the rest of the game now until the end of the day. So I started doing that lately, and it's been working out great. I've been feeling so good, like you know, I feel how I want to feel instead of waking up groggy. And so doing those things and like setting the tone early, reading a few like motivational things, keeps me at a good pace for the rest of the day now.
Yeah, for sure. Setting in that discipline for that morning, you know, because it's not easy waking up and doing what you do, or waking up, watching podcasts, making your bed, even making your bed. Something as simple as that. You know, some people could just roll out the bed, go straight to work, brush your teeth, go straight to work. You know what I mean? But like, how are you going? Like, how is this going to be like your discipline and waking up? Okay, I'm going to knock out my push-ups. I'm going to knock out my pull-ups. I'm going to work out before everybody's up. Then I'm gonna shower. Then I'm gonna read this book, read my daily text, maybe read my Bible, and then I'm gonna get ready. And when everyone's getting up to get ready to go to work, I've already knocked out 5 of the things before I even leave. You know what I mean? So you're ahead of the game. And I think that plays a big part in what you want to do. I know that helps me out a lot, like getting into a routine of doing something in that nature, whether if it's, your nutrition, working on your physical, working on your mental, working on anything and getting better little by little and being consistent with it. It's just helped me so much. And I feel like I've grown the most from doing that. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah, like the routine aspects.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I'm starting to see that too. That's why I showed you my alarms.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have 15 fucking alarms. Like, wake up at this time, get the day started, rise and shine, drink your water. Every time too I wake up, I do at least 10 pull-ups when I'm dead ass tired. As soon as I wake up, I get up on the bed, I just go straight to the pull-up bar and I do 10. And I try to do it as slow as possible because I feel like I try to work every single muscle and it wakes me up like naturally. As soon as I do like 10 pull-ups, like as soon as I get done, I brush my teeth. I'm like I feel better than if I didn't do it. Yeah. So I think the importance of having a routine in the morning or in the day, or like having things like what you want to do, set it up as an alarm on your phone. I think subconsciously you start to follow it like little by little. Like, you have an alarm. I have an alarm for like a fruit smoothie like around like 6 or 7. So like when that alarm goes off, I'm like, oh shit, I got to make the smoothie now or else, I'm going to fall behind and I'm going to sleep later. I need to get a good sleep. So I need to make sure I do this right now. And I try to work on my time management. I think people like lack that. So like people lack time management, discipline behind the time management. So if you set alarms and you set the intentions of doing it tomorrow, you have a higher chance of doing it instead of just winging it and like, oh, tomorrow around 6 I'll do this and around 3 I'll do this. Like the lack of structure kind of is a reflection of who you are at this moment. So if you start like setting in the steps right now, little by little, you following it, you messing up sometimes, you're not doing it, but you still have those alarms, like it'll set you up for later on to the point where now it becomes a routine.
Yeah, facts. And when did you start setting in this morning routine, morning discipline, to where you started doing all these things like the alarms and everything? Did this happen years ago, or is this something like newer that you have tried to experiment with?
I think I always had like a tremendous like willpower when it comes to waking up in the morning. I know if like I can easily snooze and fall asleep and I wake up late and then I feel rushed and like I feel like anxious now because I'm like, hopefully I make it to work on time, and you could get in a car accident. Or what really helped me to start doing this was the moment when I stopped drinking caffeine. So like I've been drinking caffeine a little bit like the last 2 weeks now, but before that I didn't drink caffeine for months. So once I like went through the withdrawals of a caffeine like coffee, I didn't realize like coffee is a strong drug. Like people don't realize how strong it is when you stop drinking it. Like you damn near go through withdrawals like headaches and stuff like that. And I was like, holy shit, I didn't know this was like a real thing. Like I didn't know that was a real thing. So I realized like I was falling asleep on the wheel every single morning for like a month, like because I didn't have no more caffeine. I was just running off water and willpower. So I'll be driving and I'll put the AC full blast into my face and I'll still not off. So I was like, shit, I gotta do something. Like, so that's when I started like waking up an hour earlier, going to the couch, drinking like at least a tea that has no caffeine in there, drink a lot of water, go to the bathroom, and I would feel better. But it still wasn't enough. Like I was still 20 minutes within a 30-minute drive, I'll start to really nod off. Like I'm talking about fall asleep damn near. So I'll have to like put the AC in my face. I would pinch myself on my thighs, bro. I showed my lady, like she could see like the bruises all over inside my thighs just to keep me from falling asleep. Because obviously the worst thing I want is to crash. Yeah. So I'm willing to hurt myself to the point where I'm like, damn, like, and wake myself up like that. So I think what really helped me do it was creating a better structure so I could fully prime myself to feel great energy-wise and not fall asleep on the wheel, to then be my true present. I want to be present. Obviously, if you're tired, you're not present. You're focusing on not falling asleep. So, like, my thing was like, what can I do to be the most present and to engage in conversations with people. And I contributed everything in my morning routine to that, to being present. So what can I do to put myself fully present? Now, that's why every morning I take showers in the morning now, because that makes me more alert than, especially if I'm not going to drink coffee. Taking a shower in the morning is like my coffee. Especially a cold shower. I put that in full, like, freezing cold for like at least the beginning 30 seconds and the last 30 seconds. I put it like lukewarm in the middle, just to like set the tone. And like, you want to wake up, put yourself in some cold ass water. You'll wake up real fast.
Yeah, because I always see like posts about it, like about the cold showers and stuff, like in ice baths, like how beneficial it is for you. It was something to do with like lowering your stress levels, and had a whole bunch of
like
benefits to it.
I think cortisol they call it.
Yeah, it was like a whole bunch of like health benefits to it. But well, I already take ice baths, but yeah, that's definitely something that can help somebody in the mornings, especially waking you up, because you know niggas don't do good with cold. So that cold water hit the back of your neck,
yeah,
it's over with. But how has things been for you mentally? You know, we talked a little bit about, you know, your work and how you're prepping for work, and how, like, you know, you have your routine set in stone. How's things been for you mentally, you know, with everything going on, you know, your work, your family, friends, you know, relationship? How's everything?
I'm working on it again, which is a common theme of me doing this, is like being thankful for what you have, like not taking things for granted, especially people. Like, that's the one thing I always have to like try to go back to, is like being thankful for the people that I have in my life, whether it's the woman in my life or my family or my friends. I think sometimes I'm too focused on like my ambitions that it takes me away from being thankful for what I have and always wanting more. Like, I have a pretty nice car right now, and I still want something newer, but I should really be thankful for what I have and just cherish it, and not spend more money or getting a newer car when I don't need it, when the car that I have is perfect and it does the job.
Really nice.
Yeah, and so like, and I do that with people too, though. Like, I'd ask for something, like I want somebody that will motivate me and I can have deep conversations, and then I have that, and then now I want something else within that. And I, even with friends and family, like if I'm not, you know, if there's like trial tribulations at the moment and it's not serving me, I always feel the reason to just leave. Like, I just want to end it or get myself out. I start slowly putting the relationship through turbulence, that it gives me an easy way out. So like, oh yeah, like almost the relationships ends up slowly drifting apart, and I'll just leave. So now I'm like trying to work through things, which I've never done before, especially like with the women in my life. I never really worked out anything. I think I tolerated more than I worked it out. So I would like either enable a behavior, or they will enable something in me that I need to work on, and we're both like making mistakes, and the relationship ends up being longer than it should, and never actually work it out and actually try to be practical and change. And that's what I'm doing now, is like trying to put my right foot forward and try to make the correct changes to be a better man. And super easier said than done. Like, I don't have it all figured out, and I never would ever say that, because I'm not nowhere near where I want to be. And even then, I'm still gonna have something to improve at that. So I'm never satisfied. Exactly. But I am content with who I am though right now, though. Like, I gotta make sure I say that too. It's like, I'm not like I'm my biggest critique, but I don't judge myself as hard. Like, because I've got at peace with, I'm exactly where I need to be at this moment, and I know where I want to go. But while going through that process, I want to make sure I don't judge myself to the point that it becomes detrimental and I take more steps than I need to, or overanalyze and critique myself more than I need to. So I'm just happy who I am right now and who I'm going to be day by day. So I think I just need to be content, be thankful and grateful for the people I have, and don't take them for granted, because I think I do that sometimes a little bit too often.
Yeah, beautiful. And if you had to put it on a scale or rate it, what would you rate your mental health as of right now? Because I know this is something that, you know, men as a whole do not talk about. you know, and I feel like it's something that, you know, especially the time that we're in, you know, we're fresh out of COVID, you know, getting ready to go back to a lockdown, recession, you know, different things going on, you know, there's a lot of things that we kind of bury deep down because we have to be the leaders and we have to be the strong person in our families or in our own situations. You know what I mean? So when you're that anchor, you know, there's nobody there to pick you up because, you know, you're settling down the ship, you know. So on a scale of 1 to 10, like, what would you rate yours?
The number that comes into mind, I mean, it's hard to, like, you know, quantify and measure, but I believe I'm like an 8.
An 8, okay.
Yeah, I'm super up there. I feel like I'm like the master of my own fate. So now it's just like get out your own way type thing. Like there's nothing that's outside of me that is bothering my mental health. I feel that it's more of me. So it's like as long as I get out my own way and I work through these thoughts and these situations, like I'm gonna be exactly where I want to go. So yeah, I think mental health wise, I think I feel great. Like honestly, like I feel in tune with myself. Like I don't know, like ever since this journey when I was like 16 to now, it's like everything is like coming together, especially like the moments recently where like I was maybe at a mental health of 2 to now being at an 8. Like life is literally like ups and downs. Like it's not just a straight shot up, and you know growth is here, and like you know you manifest everything. I think it's a lot of ups and that's what I'm saying. I feel like my life is literally like I go up, I'm hitting a peak, and I hit a downward spiral that feels like I've like you know I'm back to where I first started, where I was hopeless and everything. But then once I make it through that, it's like I excelled even higher than that one peak again. Like it's weird. I feel like every setback, I think it is true. Like, you know, you take 2 steps back and you take like 4 steps forward. And I feel like that's so true because every single setback that I had throughout this like journey of growth, mental health, and, you know, knowing myself and mastering myself, I think I feel like I take like, you know, what it feels like 50 steps back. I feel like I'm taking like 1,000 once I come back from that 50 steps. So I think every time, that's why I have the, you know, it shall pass tattooed on me, and I have, you know, keep going on my bio on Instagram, because I feel if you just keep going, especially when times get tough, you end up coming out, you know, stronger than ever. And I think it just shows, like, within my own personal experience, how important it is to keep going, especially when times aren't looking clear.
Facts. It's showing your perseverance, you know, because I've seen it from, you know, high school, how everything was for you all the way up until, you know, I remember right before I left to Lamar, you know, when you were coming to the MJC games, and then to now, you know, it's just like it's night and day. You feel what I'm saying? And even though you weren't outward about it, you could see it. Like I could see it in your face, your aura. And I think I remember I was with you. It was just me and you, and we were in Vegas, and it was something about you that I just was like, bro, there's some. I kept telling you, I was like, bro, there's something about your aura. Something about you just seem genuinely happy, bro. You're like genuine, and it was like one of the first times I actually heard you like say, like, yeah, bro, like I really am. Like you're like, you're like I feel free.
I feel free. I'm a free man.
No, for real. Like you, like, and I thought it was just dope to see it. Like it made me feel happy, and then you know on top of that you were winning, at the table, so it was kind of frustrating me because I was losing all my money. But
right.
nah, it was definitely dope. You know, seeing your growth, seeing your journey. You know, and that, you know, I want everybody I'm around to be on that same thing. You know what I mean? Like even if, you know, there's people that are in my circle and your circle that I know, you know, they could do better for themselves. So everybody can always do better for themselves. But I just know, like, if they really put their best foot forward, like they can be on that same journey. You know, it's even me. Like sometimes I'll beat myself up. I don't compare to nobody, but I just know that I can be at a certain level and I know where I want to get. And that motivates me and pushes me to get to that. But I just know I have to like I have to work that much harder to be there. And I want the same thing for my friends, not putting the expectation on them or nothing, but I want them to be great as well. So, I just love seeing your journey and you grinding to be how you were. And you're a self-educator, and you're genuinely living the shit that you're putting out. You feel what I'm saying? And that's rare. That's a one percenter.
Yeah, I was talking about this with my lady too on the way back, and her mom. I was talking about how everything that I've learned, majority, I would say like 85% came from YouTube. Like I know people would look at me like the way I talk and the way I speak to people, the way I socialize is like pretty high level, but I learned all that from YouTube. I remember I remember being 15 years old, being upset with myself because I couldn't have small talk with people, and like at parties or social events or school or even with a janitor or at a gas station in the same elevator, I didn't know how to have a conversation. And I remember being like 15 years old, like getting tired of it. And I was like, what can I do? And I would YouTube like, how to have a long conversation without small talk, and like TED Talks, and how to communicate, and how to breathe while you're speaking, how to listen more than to respond. I just remember searching all this stuff, man, and like seeing myself now, like what people see, like they see this confidence, this aura. I'm like, this wasn't always here though. Like I legit YouTube searched, and not only did I search and gain the knowledge from watching those videos, but then I started doing the work the same day or like the next day. I would practice like certain points to have conversations, whether it's your job of that person, the career, the books, how they think, their values, their car that they drive. Like I would literally search and find out on YouTube how to have those conversations with people to make it like a simple format that caused me less to think and more to be practical in. And everything about me is like self-made. Like I learned everything from people or videos or Google articles, but then also being practical and then creating it within myself. Like I don't think like it's kind of like music. Every time you sample a song, it doesn't ever sound like the original. It sounds like you sampling that song. Like so you put your own little sauce to it. So everything I learned from someone else, and everything I've said is said from someone else. And even the greatest philosophers, what people might quote like Albert Einstein and stuff like that, whatever his quotes are, someone else said what he says. So people try to oh, I feel like I'm copywriting or plagiarism, but it's more, for me it's more like you take from the greats and then you put your own twist to it. That's original. I think everything that has been said has already been said. Everything that has been done has already been done, but in like maybe a smaller idea. So now it's like you elevating yourself and you creating. You can create yourself. That's literally what I've done with myself. I literally created what people see now. I created this. It's not like I was like born with it. I think I always had something in me, but I had to bring it out by creating myself, and then here I am at this moment now.
Exactly, beautiful. And reinventing yourself. It was not. It was it was a grind. Am I right? Mm-hmm. And it was a journey for you. And if it was easy, like everybody would be on that same shit. Everybody would be doing that exact same thing. Whether if it's them doing it, it's a week process for them or whatever it may be. But no, this is like a lifelong journey. And the sooner you realize that the path to growth and to being your higher self is not an overnight thing, kind of takes that anxiety and stuff out of it. Yeah, you might have anger issues. You might have problems with communicating with people who don't have the same beliefs as you or whatever it may be. But, over time you will get better at whatever you feel like you need to work on. So, it's a lifelong grind, and that goes with any and everything that you deal with in life.
Yeah. I always just have this like one thing to say is like, if I can do it, you can do it. Like if you see anybody that looks just like you, like you can also do what you think is impossible. I think people just like, get in their own way. That's why that book by Russ, the audio, or if you read it, All in Your Head, it's a good book because it really is. You think people are judging you. You think people are like critiquing you, and you think people all eyes are on you. Nobody gives a fuck about you. Like, to be honest, like long term and fake caring, like people don't really care. Like, it's about what you think about yourself. That's the biggest thing. I think people forget that. Like, it's about what you think about yourself more than it is what other people think about you. That's where the power is.
Yeah, facts. So once you have that anchor of like, you know who you are, ain't nobody can tell you shit. Nope. I'm sure nobody can walk up to you and say, "Hey, Juan, like, you're kind of annoying," like, or "Hey, Juan, you're kind of a dick." Like, you know who you are, or you're a bad person. You can't tell me that. I have a good foundation of who I am. Mm-hmm. I'm I'm a good guy. If you know you're a good guy, you know how you are. Like, it don't matter how many people come to you and tell you. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, you have a good belief in yourself and who you are. You know, it can't affect you. It can't affect your internal dialect.
100%, yeah. 'Cause I had people tell me too. It's like, oh, you're oversharing too much, or maybe
oversharing.
or you talk a lot, you rant, and like people would tell me like, oh, you seem like you're kind of sensitive, or you're kind of emotional, and like people would tell me all that stuff too. Like, they won't say it directly how I say it, but they'll like a little gaslight, or like, and I like, you can't fool me. Like, I know what you're doing. Like, you're trying to justify how I am to then uplift you for you not being who you are or who you want to be. Like, you try to belittle somebody to uplift yourself, to justify your failure in life. So like, some people look at me, I talk confidently in like the meetings, or I talk in person or publicly, people will like overhear me or something. And it's crazy to like see people within themselves be like, the audacity of me being able to talk how I talk and walk how I walk, and they try to push that onto like the people around them. Like, they'll judge you, you know what I mean? Like, to me, I just have like huge empathy for that person, because nobody that's happy in life is going to comment some negative shit on somebody's post. Or anybody who's happy in life and content and really is like a good, genuine person is not going to make you feel bad about yourself, at least intentionally. Subconsciously, I think people do it. I make the mistake too of maybe not being as sensitive to usually like the women in my life, or my siblings too. Not just women, actually, that's not true, but like just anybody who means the most to me. I think sometimes I'm like not as sensitive as I should be, because it means a lot to me. I hate seeing the people I love suffer, so sometimes it comes off like too militant sometimes. So I think nobody can't tell me nothing that I don't already know about myself. I'm my biggest critique. So anything you tell me, I've already worked through that thought, or even working through that thought right now. And I know who I am. I know what I stand for. And, my actions will show. And I back it up with everything I say. So that's why, you have to lead by example.
Yeah, facts. And how important is that to lead by example? And, you being the oldest of 22.
22, sort of, yeah, right?
How important is that, like when you're making these type of decisions and you're carrying yourself in a certain way, are you doing it in the aspect of like, your younger brothers, younger siblings are looking up to you?
Mm-hmm. I think that's what keeps me going, is like, being vulnerable and like documenting like our process through this podcast. I think everything that I say, all my family knows, and like my friends know, and the people closest to me know that I'm legit living what I'm talking about, and I'm struggling. I talk about my my weaknesses on the podcast, and literally will go after this podcast and go right to work in exactly what I just talked about. Like, not taking not taking people for granted, and having a different perspective on growing with each other, and making growing fun. Growing doesn't have to be filled with anxiety, and especially with like your lover or your friend or your family that you want to help grow. You don't have to create this like anxiety tense growth process. You can actually have fun with growing with each other. And like, even like what I just said right now, I'm legit living through that. Like, everything I talk about, I'm living at this current moment. I might not be talking about this maybe a couple years from now, because I worked through it maybe, but I might be going through now. I'm most likely going to be working through something else a year from now. So I think me leading by example and me being open and honest about it and not giving a flying fuck what anybody has to say about what I'm going through and actually, trying to be a better man. I think that's where the trust relies, and my family is going to take my word straight to the core because they know I'm coming from a good place and I'm honest and I'm not scared of, I'm not trying to seek validation. I don't move off fear. So I think that right there is what's going to have my words resonate more than the person that talks too much but doesn't do nothing of what they say.
Yeah, facts. So when we're on the topic of, so now that we're on the topic of that, has there ever been a moment in where, like, you're trying to set that example and you're trying to inspire or motivate maybe friend, family, or spouse, and you can't get through to them, or you can't give them that motivation that they need at that time, but everyone's timing is different, but you're trying to motivate them in a way and it just seems like nothing's not working? How do you maneuver through that?
Man, that's my biggest struggle. My thing that I've been working through is like how you just said, it's all about timing. Like you might not listen to what I'm saying that might help you, especially if you're struggling with it the 100th time, but it might take the 101 time where now everything just clicks with you, with somebody who I'm trying to help. So what I've been doing is letting go of expectations and just be consistent with what I'm talking about and leading with example. I feel like, let's say I'm a very calm, relaxed person and I know myself and, I'm very good with articulating and taking accountability and being calm when times are hectic. And let's say the other person I care about is overly sensitive, super anxious, feels like the world is watching them and they're struggling with something, as in, being composed. If they're coming up to me anxious and, anxiety driven and they're judging themselves and they come up to me and I see that and then I respond with the same energy that they're having, like anxious. I'm anxious because I hate seeing them suffer and I'm judging them, but in reality I'm really trying to help them. I have the right intentions but just doing it the wrong way. But if I match their energy, but I want them to be calm and composed and think logically and be rational, I have to reflect that. I have to reflect what I want them to be. Not like I'm trying to make them to be somebody else, but like if I see them struggling and they want to be composed, I have to reflect that. I have to have them see that in me for them to be like, oh, like that's what I want. That I see the way he's responding to me, the way he's talking to me. I see the composure. That's what I want. But if I react and talk to them anxious and stuff like that, make them more anxiety driven, they're not going to see what I want them to see. So I think being consistent with that, keeping myself composed so they can see it and be consistent with that and not judge them, I think, and the time goes by and then maybe that 101 time everything clicks for them because I've been consistent, I think that's when it'll happen. But there's no timing for it. You can't give a deadline to that. So I think the more you're consistent in your word and leading by example and the reflection of what you want them to be, they'll naturally get to that.
Exactly. And having a podcast like how we talked about last time, to where you're talking about these things and discussing these things that you've been through, your trials and tribulations, like you said, maybe not the 100th time, maybe the 101. Like they might be watching this 5 years down the line, 4 years down the line when they're going through those things. They're like, wow, he did this to get through that. Let me go ahead and try this. Let me actually see what he's really talking about. These books that I'm reading, this information that I'm getting from the internet, maybe some of the things that you've been through and got through, they don't have to go through it because they're like, okay, I can block out that mentality or how I deal with these things or how I react to these things based off of Juan's experience. You know what I mean? So it's definitely beautiful to see, and just thinking back to like, at this time, if I would have had somebody like myself there to inspire me, to motivate me, to guide me in a certain way, maybe it would have been clutch for you at the time, but it wouldn't have made you who you are today. You feel what I'm saying? So, like us going through whatever we're going through and getting through it through our own, trials and tribulations, it's making us exactly who we are, who we're supposed to be.
That's a beautiful way to end it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, for sure. I think that's gonna wrap it up for today. Most definitely, thankful for all your input and all the work we've been putting in. Definitely, climbing and seeing where we are with all of our social media engagement. People reaching out, saying how much that the things that you're saying, things that I'm saying is motivating them, putting them in a better mindset, or they're making changes for their life for the better. It's just it's a good feeling, because that I feel like that's my calling. I feel like that's your calling. We're on that same path to doing this, and you do it through work and through your family members, siblings. I inspire through my all my siblings, nieces, nephews, whatever it may be, anybody I come in contact with. I always try to have something positive to say to somebody or motivating somebody in some way, whether if it's like physically, mentally, in any way. So it's just beautiful to see us grow, and we're gonna continue to do that. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you, Wanaveli. Appreciate you guys for tapping in with us, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.